Slobodnik. I'm an architecture major. As Brian said, I'm going to look at not architecture. You're going to see plenty of great architecture in a little bit. I'm going to focus a little more on product design that I worked on with Tom Alisma. And when you think about product design, it's a little bit of everything you use every day in your everyday life. And so when Tom says you can design anything you want, it's kind of challenging to think about what do I want to design. So I actually started looking at something I was interested in that I don't actually think about the design, but something I more think about what I, just using it every day. So I started looking at the guitar, and I started looking at it in ways, what are other people currently doing with the guitar as more than a musical instrument, but maybe as a way to express their design. And so I started looking at these things, and that was one of my girlfriend's favorites, so I had to throw it in there for a little pause. But they're looking at it in ways that are primarily aesthetic, and so I kind of got a little stuck on that track. So I started with some simple parameters where the neck and the pickups and everything, those locations have to be standard. You have to have those so that the guitar actually plays like a guitar. And then started going through a number of sketch iterations where maybe you change the size of the body, or you change the design of the body, or maybe it becomes a simple wall hanging in a light or a clock and it doesn't actually function as a guitar. But what I quickly realized was that all I was looking at is how it's an aesthetic change and not really a design change. And so my roommate at the time, he was also learning how to play the guitar, and he said, it doesn't fit me quite right. So I started looking at the guitar in a way that how does it actually interact with the human body, and how can the guitar change where it interacts with the human body to actually fit the individual user in a different way. And so I started doing final design sketches after I decided that that's the way I wanted to look at it, looking at materiality. Maybe the body becomes an acrylic body where you can see how do all the wires work, how do all the pickups, how does everything link together in this guitar, so you kind of understand it a little more. And then in product design, you get into a little intimate one-to-one scale that maybe you don't get with architecture, and then looking at foam mock-ups and actual drawings. And then to do that acrylic body, in order to get all the wiring and the pickups and everything to work right, what I did was, rather than trying to make a solid acrylic body, I layered it in sheets of 1/8" acrylic sheets, and then looked at this thing and basically in plan or in section, if you want to think about it, how does everything start to work and how does everything become one cohesive element? And because of that lamination process, rather than just gluing it, I took the opportunity to actually express the tectonic nature of this and screw everything together so that you actually see how it fits together really well. So on the front and the back side, there are screws that hold it together, and then a coupling nut on the interior. And all this had to be really predetermined at the very beginning. You can see on the left image, it's the most basic, minimal thing that you need for the electric guitar. Where do you put the pickups? Where does the bridge go? How do you change the volume and the tone? And how does all that work in the most basic space? But then on the right, what pieces can actually adjust to fit the individual body? And the curved piece is where, say if you're sitting down and playing and it rests on your leg, and then the piece on the other side, it adjusts so that you can rest your arm on it if you need to, or you can fold it up if you're standing up and playing. Now in the top you can see as the pieces start to pull apart, then you can start to see through these layers of acrylic how does everything work in a different view rather than straight on. And then in the bottom you can see where everything starts to come together, all the wires and everything, and you can see how it really starts to come together. The neck and the frets and everything, I didn't actually make that part myself. I bought that on eBay actually, of all places. But I did that because in a guitar it has to be so perfect that if you're off even 1/32 or 1/64 of an inch, it's going to be completely out of tone. So I wanted to make sure that everything was right, and I had a little bit of design ability with the head. And then with product design, usually, especially in my case, you want to show it with somebody actually using it. Well, I asked my girlfriend, would you model with this guitar? And she looks at me, and she's probably going to kill me for saying this. She goes, I don't even know how to hold a guitar. I don't play the guitar. So what I told her to do was just stand there and just hold it, and we'll just take a sweet picture. And I think it all turned out right. And actually, it looks like she knows what she's doing, so she did a pretty good job. So thanks, Stacey.